Helen Valabasalo here again, and another Afternoon Tea with Helen. Remember to subscribe, comment, and share as well. The playlist is there. Subscribe to the playlist, and so you don't miss out on all these wonderful interviews that I'm doing. Today we have someone really special today, and I've known her for a few years now. And what you're about to find out today is going to inspire you, it's going to motivate you, and hopefully you'll be able to give us some comments on what you think about as well. So Robin, today, Robin Droulard, I want you to tell me, okay, what is it that you have been doing with your life? I know you've done so many different things. What are some of the things that you've been doing? You've been an editor of a magazine, a newspaper, you've been involved in different things, you give back to the community. So what would you like people to know about you? Oh, first of all, I forgot my tea. I always say my tea. So today I got my tea here. It's lemon and ginger tea in my beautiful cup and saucer from my Royal Doulton collection here. So are you drinking tea, Robin?
I am indeed. I am drinking, and thank you for the lovely introduction. And I hope I do motivate and inspire some people today, including myself.
Sure.
And, and you. I am drinking some nice chamomile calming tea, because these are indeed extraordinary times that we're living through, and everyone can use a little calming with honey. So because you are my British hostess, and my cup is, as you can see, it's a an AIDS ribbon. But what I love about this cup, I use it only for tea. And it is from, I'm going to tell you, I bought this cup in about 1990. Wow. I was working at Barney's, New York in the gift department, and I bought two of them. I bought one for myself and one for my friend Ava, because at that time, Ava and I were volunteering every year at the AIDS Dance-a-thon in New York. And that was held at the Javits Center. And for many years, we volunteered as sign-in volunteers, and later on at the AIDS Walk, really until I moved to Florida. But that was the beginning of my life as a volunteer.
Oh.
And
so you're originally from New York?
You couldn't tell. Most people, say, I say, you know, Helen, I can be in Europe and dressed really conservatively, and I'll say bonjour, and they'll go, hey, what part of New York are you from?
See, that you can't miss a New York accent.
No.
You know? But being British, I don't pick up accents, American accents easily. So, and for the listeners that are listening all over the world, maybe they can't pick it up either.
They do, so. Sure. You know, they'll say anyone with an Australian or South African accent they'll say, oh, you must be English. But yeah, I can't get away with it, nor do I really want to. I found what's really interesting in business is people tend to judge you on things like how you speak. And when I started working, I actually took a course in non-regional English. And I learned how to speak in a manner that was, and I think I'm doing it now, kind of. I speak much, I don't do the dems and those and hey, how you doing? Which was, I said, if I went to Europe and taught English, I'd send a lot of people back here going, hey, how you doing? But it was the second or third week of the class, and a little Chinese woman said to me, excuse me, please, but I do not understand. What is so terrible about having a Brooklyn accent? Many of us in this class would love to have a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
What I did discover, though, was that when I would slip into a Brooklyn accent, when I was tired usually, people thought I was stupid. And
really?
What I learned is that if I talk like this, I can learn a lot more, because if I talk like this, people don't really give me a whole lot of credit for having a brain. So if I go into a meeting and talk like this and say, ha ha, that's funny, I will be laughing, they would talk to me, they would talk over me, they would talk past me, and I learned a lot of stuff. I was able to pick up a lot more information than when I was speaking like an educated person. It was interesting. it's an interesting
To
thing.
see the difference with how people treat you.
How people treat.
Yes.
I've also been very
Mm-hmm.
fat in my life and very thin, and it's the same thing. People really do make snap judgments about people, and if
We were
you
just talk. Yeah, we were just talking. We were talking about that at a meeting this morning.
really,
I mean, we're in 2020 right now, depending on when you're watching this. We're in 2020 right now where there's a lot of stuff going on. And perception, people's perception of their model of the world is how they react to situations that are going on. And that's just what you're explaining. You know, people look and they've got a preconceived idea, and they sometimes they don't know where that preconceived idea came from. They were, you know, ingrained in them from a very early age, and they don't know why they think things like that, you know.
yeah,
So
perception is reality also, and
absolutely.
in
Mm-hmm.
business, I found, you know, if you know that, you can really use it to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
an
used to tell my daughter. I used to tell my daughter that because I used to say the sum of the five people you hang out with,
right,
and
right,
if those people have got uh, uh, records, or they're into drugs, or they're ultra intelligent, or they're whatever it is that their lifestyle is, that's what you will be. They will assume, again, you should never assume, but people assume that you're exactly the same as them. So for success, it's good to hang out with successful people, and then everyone treats you as though you are as successful as those people. So swerving back to success, what would you say was your best success for you in your working career?
you know, it's funny. I started out as a journalist, and when I turned 30, I switched into sales because for a lot of reasons. One was I just wasn't making enough money to live in New York City. And I also learned for the first time at 30 about goal setting. I just,
Mm.
nobody ever taught me. I was in, I'm 64 now, and I was in the generation where you grow up, you get married, you go to college maybe, and then you get married. But nobody really taught me about having a career. They just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't, there's no blame, you know, this was what our parents did in our
Right.
circles. And so they did what they thought we should do, you know? So I never, like I said, I didn't learn about setting goals, or I was smart in school. I did really well without having to try very hard. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
really directed me. Nobody said, hey, you're really good at figuring things out. You would probably be a great engineer. I was able to get some financial aid in school, so I didn't have a real counselor. So, in fact, in my first year in college, I failed calculus. I started as a math major, and I couldn't grasp calculus, and I had no counselor to tell me that I could drop a class. I had no clue. I just stopped going. Of course,
Right.
what my grade point average down, but it just didn't. It didn't. I didn't have that kind of guidance until
Right.
much later in life. So um, I was very, very lucky in my career. I had in my sales career the world's best sales jobs. I was reasonably well paid. I never made the big bucks, but I was reasonably well paid. But I had no boss, basically, no quotas. Um, I had expense accounts. I had nobody watching where I was going. At one point, I had 3 jobs. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I, I
Oh yeah.
I just was really, really lucky. I had great jobs. I traveled the world. I I've been very blessed. So and from my until I was 30 until from when I was 30 until when I until I was almost 60, I worked in sales and I did okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it, and but I never had the killer instinct that I really think is necessary to excel in sales. What made me successful was that I knew my stuff and I really cared about my clients.
And I
And
think that's half the battle is caring.
and then,
How did you get into editing though?
well, I had my degree is in communications. My degree,
Mm-hmm.
I actually went into the fashion FIT in New York Fashion Institute, and my degree is in advertising and communications. And at FIT, they push you right up to Seventh Avenue, and you go into the fashion business. I was in every aspect of the fashion business except women's fashions. I was in footwear, I was in home furnishings, I was in children's, I was in men's, and they were a little less cutthroat. And
Right.
I was in the magazine publishing industry. So basically, I was in publishing throughout my life. I sold advertising. And
Right.
and when I got to Florida, well, no fashion industry, no international publishing, and really, when I got to Florida, I struggled. I took a series of sales jobs, and I didn't succeed. And and finally, because I've also done a lot of in the past 20 or 25 years, I've done a lot of self training. I've done a lot of self help. I've been involved with landmark education. Which is the outgrowth of the old EST from a million years ago. I've done peak potentials. I worked with Robert Allen, the real estate guru, Mark Victor Hansen, who was the
I know,
speaking
yeah.
to for the soul
Mm-hmm.
guy. They got together and they did a
Yeah.
program. Um, so I did a lot of self education and group education. I was a seminar junkie for a while, and what
So
I did.
do you think self-education is important?
Oh
Do you think
my
people should
God.
do that?
You know, you don't learn in school how to handle money. You don't learn self-confidence. You don't learn negotiating, how to negotiate and how to set goals for yourself, how
Right.
to figure out how to get where you want to go, how to figure out where you want to be and how to get there. Those kind of seminar trainings, Tony Robbins, I think he's a little too rah-rah. I went to one of his things and there was flashing lights and confetti and it was a little too much.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the message is excellent. You know, you can do whatever you want, and whatever you say, it goes, because it's your life and you get to call the shots, and everything that is in your life is a result of your decisions.
Exactly.
Everything,
So
you know, and that's what I learned.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
And did that lead you? Because I know you give back to the community. Did that lead you into the program that you're involved in now, like Leadership Hollywood?
well, that was it. Yes, indirectly, because I'm completely convinced that had I not been dragged kicking and screaming to landmark education 20 something years ago, not dragged kicking and screaming, but it took my friend Ralph 7 years of inviting me before I finally said, okay, take me to an introduction. If I had not done that program, I would still be living in New York City in a studio apartment by myself, surrounded by newspapers like a Collier sister, and saying, oh, poor me, I'll never meet anybody to love and I'm never going to get anywhere.
Right.
But because of that, I learned that I could do anything. And so I bought a house in upstate New York. And when I discovered that I could live someplace else than where I already was, I moved to Florida. And I met Jennifer, who is the publisher of the Hollywood Gazette. And she said, hey, why don't you come to work for me? And she didn't even know I could write, because I had not been writing for many, many years. And when she discovered I could write, she started giving me more work at the Hollywood Gazette, which, as we know, sadly closed due to COVID. But Jennifer said to me, hey, would you like to do Leadership Hollywood? And I said, sure. She said, do you know what it is? I said, no, but now I'm a girl that says yes. I say yes.
Exactly, yes.
Because if you say no, you get nowhere. If you say yes, you got at least a 50% shot of something great happening.
Agreed.
So when I said yes, I went into Leadership Hollywood, and you and I were in the class together, and that's how we met.
We were.
And people couldn't tell us apart for a while. We were just those two.
For a while, I know. These two old women, yes.
So we were the two oldest women in the group, you, me, and Terry.
Exactly.
The three white-haired old people.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, remember the first day when we did that exercise, the getting to know you, and you had to go around the room and say, I'd like to introduce you to my new best friends, and go
Right.
figure, look how we became. Well, we
Abs-
got a group of best friends out of that,
Absolutely. You know,
and then
but now you're involved in it. You're
and
part
then
of the chair
I
committees.
said, I'm going, I got new friends, and as we know, I got my boyfriend out of it. So I said,
Absolutely.
I owe this group, but I want to give back. I do a lot of volunteer work, and it's become part of my life. It when I go through bad periods, the good periods are when I'm giving back.
Mm-hmm.
If it's cheering kids on in the sports abilities games, these kids who have all kinds of disabilities, but
Right.
they
Would
do
you, if you were talking to some of the younger generation? I mean, we've both been through, life more than the younger people have. Would you say that getting involved in volunteering should happen at a very early age?
so many people that I do volunteer with bring their kids from, oh gosh, infancy. So it becomes
Mm-hmm.
a part of life. They
Yep.
they know from early on. It's not even a
Mm-hmm.
decision that they have to make. It's as natural to them as play dates.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and,
I agree.
and
Mm-hmm.
they understand from the beginning how blessed that they are. They
Yep.
also, speaking about like perceptions about people, when they start young, especially in things like dealing with people with disabilities, they don't see the differences so much.
Right.
And the
I
kids
agree.
today don't see differences in color either.
They don't.
Not like,
They don't. I remember when I was growing up, and you were probably the same. I grew up in the Highlands of Scotland, and my grandmother, we used to go visit my grandmother, and there were, next door was a child the same age as me with Down syndrome. And we had all different walks of life in the community. And my grandmother was inclusive with everyone, no matter who you were and no matter what you were. And I grew up, like you just said, not seeing disability, not seeing color, not seeing anything. I grew up seeing people and individuals and things like that. And that's why I find what's going on right now for a lot of people is so difficult to comprehend, because I personally didn't grow up that way, and I know a lot of people didn't grow up that way.
mm-hmm.
And if you start, and I did the same with my daughter and my grandchildren as well. We give back all the time, and they've been giving back since they were toddlers. I took them to things. My grandchildren make sandwiches and lunch bags, and they give their stuff to the hospitals and all this. And I think if it starts, like you said, when you're very young, and then you don't know any different, and then it's more inclusive. And I think if that was done a lot more, we might, I know this is like Pollyanna, but we might have a different world,
But even for
Yeah.
personal feelings and personal growth, if you're having a bad day and you're feeling sorry for yourself, go someplace and go hand out food to the needy. Go to a hospital
Absolutely.
and go play with some little children who are
Yeah.
ill. Believe me,
Yeah.
that is all you need to
Absolutely.
feel better.
Yeah.
That's gonna
So
change
what
mood.
what
So
do you
that's
what is
leadership.
yeah, what is your motto that you live by? What is your mission that you live by? I know you give back, but what is the motto that you live by?
Well, the motto that I've always lived by was kind of be nice and do the right thing and always have fun. But this is an interesting thing I came up with in some of my soul searching, and that people are always looking for their purpose in life. We're always, why am I here? My purpose in life. And it's always out there. You're waiting for this aha moment for it to fall on you to go, oh, Helen, you were here to make a difference in people's lives. So one day in one of my soul searching, I chose that I was going to, I figured it out. I actually figured out my purpose in life. My purpose in life is to spread joy. Every day in my life, I make somebody else smile or laugh. Now, you know me, I'm pretty funny. You know, I'm pretty fun. I'm being
yes,
very
but that's a good thing to do, though. You know, and like
it's in here, and you know what?
Yeah.
I deliver on that purpose every day.
I love that.
And when I got that, boy, did that give me a feeling inside like I don't have to look for that purpose anymore. I know it, and I fulfill on it every day of my life.
And that is a perfect way to round this off for the motivation, the inspiration that we want to get from talking to people and finding out what people, what makes them tick, what makes them move forward. And Robin, you've just done that. You know, we both are older and we both live life, but when you find your purpose, when you know what your purpose is and you love what you're doing and I can feel your energy and all that sort of thing, it's so much easier to live your life when you don't have to worry about things like that. So everyone, comment on what you've just heard. I hope it's inspired you to listen to two white-haired ladies here and having afternoon.
We're right in fashion. They just had
exactly.
to catch up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would just, you know, if you think you don't, if you're looking for your purpose in life, don't look out there, look within. It might be sitting right there.
Absolutely. So remember to subscribe, remember to comment, and remember to share. And please, please, like Robin said, look inside. Have a wonderful day, everyone.